I'm going to bitch about them a lot in this episode, so please don't judge me.
So between the three of us, I think we're covering, all sets of scenarios that can possibly exist.
You're gonna be in our club, Ansh, yes.
What do we even prepare them for? Like, this whole Gen AI has taken over the world.
It seems like it's such a huge shift.
Are they able to connect dots and derive something which doesn't exist except in human brain?
She would not want to share all these things with me.
What should kids do in the age of AI?
We had a luxury of boredom at times.
I have so many questions.
First of all, don't be scared of AI. Don't stop them from using AI.
How are we gonna teach our kids human values, right?
When they grow up, not knowing AI or not knowing how to use AI will be like our grandparents who couldn't use mobile phones.
All right, welcome to the pod, everyone. Today we're tackling a very important topic for every parent, and I think this is something which is absolutely close to my heart as well: parenting in the AI era. So welcome back, and we're calling this episode the Dad Download. Lovely name, right? Like, thanks guys for this name. This was incredible. When I heard the Dad Download, it just it felt really close. The download word is so amazing in terms of a context. So this podcast is where we've got three dads trying to make sense of the modern parenting, the tech scene, and everything in between. I'm Ansh, your host, full-time dad, and I've got two of my favorite co-parents in chaos with me. It's Amit and Viraj. Welcome.
And thank you, Ansh. It's so good to be here. I'm obviously a father for two girls, a 6.5 and 2.5. So somebody who's toddler as well as a girl who's moved out of that stage. So I'll have contrasting stories to share. And I'm so excited to, just talk about two different things happening at the same time in my place. So looking forward to it. Thank you.
Hi guys, you know me, I'm Viraj. I have two sons, 8 and 3. I'm going to bitch about them a lot in this episode, so please don't judge me.
Thanks, Viraj. And I'm a father of a 5-year-old daughter, and we're also expecting our a new addition in the family.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
I think you're gonna be in our club. You're gonna be in our club, Ansh. Yes.
It's so interesting, right? Viraj, you've got two boys. Amit, you've got two girls. And I don't know if I'm doing a gender reveal ceremony right now, but I'm going to have a boy. So it's going to be, a girl and a boy. So between the three of us, I think we're covering, all sets of scenarios that can possibly exist, the PNCs. So let's dive in, right? Today, we're talking about something that all of us, feel daily, on a daily basis in terms of raising our family, in current times. The pressure is real, I can feel it every morning. And there's so many things that are changing in the world. And the most important thing that really we want to talk about is kids' education in this day and age. Mm-hmm. What do we even prepare them for? Like, this whole Gen AI has taken over the world. We are hearing about quantum coming soon. And AGI might become the new normal, by the time they grow up. And imagine if a kid is, let's say, a toddler, it's a few decades away from hitting the workforce. So I have so many questions. So I just want to get a better sense, from both of you in terms of what are you thinking. But before we even talk about AI and all the stuff that is in the future, I want to talk about, let's start with you, Amit. What is the biggest difference you feel when we grew up and how our kids are growing up? I remember now a toddler can actually, unlock your phone, before they even say their name. So remember, Amit, while we were growing up, how different the world was?
Absolutely, Ansh, and thanks for raising that point. It seems like it's such a huge shift. We can call it a generational shift with kids around me. They'll surprise me every time, right? They'll surprise me every second. What I think is the speed of everything. When we were growing up, we were pretty much, it's a slow pace. We had our time to learn, but now I feel like their entire time is filled with so many things. It could be screen time, it could be their classes. It's just completely occupied mind. They don't have a slow paced. Now at times it feels like we had a luxury of boredom at times, right, which led us to some creativity. But in here it's just a constant wheel running, right? So it is the pace, I would say, which surprises me the most. That's a very obvious change what we see between our generation, let's call it, and what our kids are living in this generation.
Yeah. And to add to that, on the contrary, when they are excited to talk about stuff, we are busy. For example, they just come back from school, and we are stuck in that meeting. We can't talk to them. They just want to share everything that happened in the classroom that day. Unfortunately, we just ask them to watch TV or watch tablet. When I used to come back from my school, my sisters, my mother was always there to talk to me. So I really feel bad about that.
Yeah, we've become too busy, right? Like, especially when they're young, they want to share everything about what has happened in their school, how the day has gone. And if you're working, even if you're working from home, right, you're so busy 9 to 5. By the time they're back, their energy is, at peak. And those evening hours, we might be busy with work. Sometimes, like, I consciously, spend time with my 5-year-old, because I think this is the age where they're so honest and transparent with you, and they want to share everything. I want to preserve that, for my own memory, because what's going to happen when she'll be a teenager is that she would not want to share all these things with me. So I better kind of, live the moment than regret later, because after a few years we'll be like, oh my gosh, when my child was sharing, I didn't listen. I don't want to live in that guilt.
Yeah. No, I think you've got a very valid point, Ansh, and if I can add on to it, when my first daughter was born, it wasn't just her being born, it was a mother and father were born as well. We were born as I was born as a father, and we were learning with every day. The first thing everybody used to tell me is that first thing what you're going to learn is the patience. Now I understand what patience means. But what I have also learned in this is your listening skills, no matter what mood you are into. And I can completely correlate with you. One thing what you have to do is just listen to them. Let them speak their heart out. Whatever is in their mind, just let them speak. Never block that channel of or that access of your ears to them. You should just listen them out. So I would agree on that point, Ansh.
Thanks, guys. I think that's good context. What about the additional classes? Some of these kids, like things like music, dance, and sports classes that almost all the kids are going to. What about that pressure? And also, I think the Insta parenting problem has become so big, right? People watch something on the reels, and it has become such a common thing to compare. Like, somebody creates a massive Lego house and posts it on Insta, and that becomes a conversation topic, and everybody wants to buy Lego and kind of create a castle or whatever. So there's so many things that are happening. I know we had that Sharma Ji Ka Beta comparison while we were kids. Does it still exist?
It does. And in my family, we have tried to resist it as much as we can. So my kids don't go to too many classes. It's also because I'm little bit lazy, but we want to create the passion from within himself. So these days he's only going for a cricket class because he loves cricket, and that's it. So we try not to compete with other parents. Not sure if it is the right thing or the wrong thing for kid when he grows up, but at least now I feel that's the right thing to do.
Ansh, for me, if I have to say, it's slightly opposite side. So there are a couple of things. Let's understand it. One is obviously there's this so-called invisible pressure, because किसी का बच्चा 4 क्लासेस कर रहा है, पूरा दिन बिजी है, 6 के 6 दिन बिजी है, एक कोई डांस क्लासेस कर रहा है, कोई लैंग्वेज सीख रहा है, कोई स्पोर्ट्स सीख रहा है, कोई इंस्ट्रूमेंट सीख रहा है, और ये सारी चीज़ें it all goes back to what we see on social media. But there's another point to it, and it's a valid point. When kids are growing up, you are also exploring what they like, what Viraj rightly mentioned, right? You don't know what they like from the day one, right? So you would like to get them exposure into all these available, let's say, learning. It could be sports, it could be instrument, it could be language, anything what they like, and let them figure out what they want to go ahead. I'll give a quick example. मैंने मेरी बेटी को karate classes के लिए enroll किया. She went for karate classes, and all she would do is she'll just go and lie down there. And all the kids will do the same thing. Literally, can you imagine a kid going to karate classes and they just lie down on the mat? They're like, all right, we're having fun. We saw that. At least she was enjoying. She was having a good time with the friend. But then we realized, well, that's not karate, right? So we let her go for a couple of months, and then we decided, well, that's not her cup of tea. Let's explore something else. And then we got her into gymnastics. Now, on the contrary, that worked out very well, because anyway, she keep on hanging here and there in the sofa, in the chair, in my house. So I wanted to channelize her energy so that she can go to gymnastic class and get exhausted for that 1.5 hour. And she feels like, yes, I have spent a wonderful time in the class while I'm having a fun. So I think it goes both ways. You are exploring, what kids love to do. while you're also trying to manage their time. You don't want to overexhaust them. So yeah, I think there is an invisible pressure for sure, but it also is equally true that you're trying to read their mind through what they like versus what they don't.
That must be a really expensive lie down in the karate class.
It is.
I
It
know how
is serious.
expensive these classes are. Like, in London, I know it's like, 30 pounds for half an hour. And, it just, and when you do so many of them, it all adds up. So yeah, even in my case, right? Like, my daughter goes to a piano class, a ballet class, there's an arts and craft class. So I feel like right now we are thinking at the age where, she's exploring, right? At 5, you don't know what your forte is. So I feel like it's good that, when kids are exposed to so many things, they might be a prodigy in something, who knows, right? Like, she might be an artist, or so you're just kind of testing waters at this age. And it's great to give them, these opportunities. And even if it's for a year or, half a year or whatever time period, it's great to kind of get a sense, because they also might develop an interest and they might want to, and it's that personal, like you said, Amit, right? Like some kids love a particular type of activity. So we just need to find what they like, what they love. And if they don't like it, we don't think there needs to be any pressure from us for them to go in a particular class. This is anyways extracurricular and it's additional. So I'm hoping that parents don't put, unnecessary due pressure, and it's just about exploration, I think, at this age.
Yeah.
Awesome. I know all our kids are, below the age of 10. So why don't we focus this particular episode for the foundation years? And let's go back into the actual topic as parenting in the AI age, right? Because we want to understand, what do we really teach our kids? How do we really raise them? What do we teach them? So Viraj, what do you work in Google, you see this in and out. What do you really think that we should be teaching them?
That's a great question, Ansh. What should kids do in the age of AI? I'm also learning, but I feel at this age, we should stop memorizing stuff. We should stop asking our kids to memorize stuff. जब हम लोग बड़े हो रहे थे, knowing tables till 25 was a big deal. But now maybe it is not that important. We don't want to make our kids calculators. What I'm trying to build interest in my kids is curiosity and logic formulation. Are they able to connect dots and derive something which doesn't exist except in human brain?
Viraj, a very valid point. I think I would agree with the curiosity and the logic point of what AI brings in, and I would also agree that they don't need to be a calculator. But I think in this AI age, we should also think about how we're going to teach our kids human values. What your machine learning AIs would not teach them, and this is where we as a parent we come into fore, and this is what we could. I mean, it's in everyday task, that how do we teach them compassion? These are some of the human values which will make them stand out in the crowd. Everybody is after AI, right? What about collaboration? How to collaborate, right? How to be a team player? How to work as a team? And that's why some of these classes, what we talked about, right? When they go for these team sport, that's what they learn, right? It's not in the machine, it's not in the laptop. They need to go onto the ground to learn it. That's a skill, and they need to be aware that, all right, if one of my teammate, he got hurt, how to be just a bit empathetic about it. And these things would come when they are in that race of in their career, when they're trying to become a leader. And these are some of the great qualities to have. So I think I would agree with some of these points of logic and curiosity, but I would top it up with some of these points which they cannot learn in front of system or with AI, which are some of these human skills, some of these human aspect of compassion, collaboration, having that empathy. So Ansh, that would be my additions to this point.
And that's awesome. I think both of you kind of rightly said it's a combination, right? Like it's, you need those distinctions of, that's the empathy and emotions, because without that, and I don't know if humanoids would be traveling and moving and maybe staying in our houses in a few decades. So how do we differentiate between a human and a humanoid? That might become the real question. And some of those things that Amit, that you just mentioned might be the key differences. Give us an example, right? So let's say you have a child who is around 4, 5, 6-year-old. What do we really teach? So should we make, let's say, her like a director with AI in terms of like, should she play around with like a Gen AI tool? I know Google recently came up with a Gemini engine, which is mind blowing. ChatGPT is come up with the GPT-5 engine, which is not so bad either. And there's so many other tools like Grok, and also some of these AI tools from other parts of the world, DeepSeek and other from China that are emerging as great computational tools. They're beating the best in the world in terms of translation, games, chess. Like, how does a person become better than somebody? And the reason why I'm asking this is, and I'm going deep into this, is they are powered by millions and millions of variables and fields, and it's like giving somebody the knowledge of the entire humanity, going through all literature, all books, maths, science, arts, everything, and obviously the speed at which they read and understand, and the way they have created these models. How do we compete against those? So what do I teach my daughter? That's my question, Viraj.
I would say don't stop them. First of all, don't be scared of AI. Don't stop them from using AI. When TVs were introduced, even like 10, 15 years ago, people were not allowing their kids to watch TV. And I think that was a lost opportunity. Yeah, I understand that we can't just have screen times for 3 hours, but watching TV for half an hour where something educational is going on is not bad. And same applies to AI in my mind. Let them use AI. When they grow up, not knowing AI or not knowing how to use AI will be like our grandparents who couldn't use mobile phones, right? We don't want our kids to be there. So let them use AI, but use them, as you, Ansh, rightly pointed out, your kids should be director of the AI and not just the consumer of what AI is generating. So let's say they are using AI. Ask them, out of their curiosity, how can they change what AI has generated? Let's say they ask AI to write a poem. We can challenge our kids to change the mood of the poem by using AI and see if they are able to do that. Are they able to understand the nuances of the poem and extract the information out of it?
That's fantastic, Viraj. Like changing the end of the story,
Yeah.
or changing the mood or the emotion. These are like such really creative ways of changing the story in the essence that the output might come up with. I just love this. Like, I think these are the kind of stuff we should start, like especially a kid who's learning, expose them with these tools and play around. It'll be nice to see the outputs. What do you think, Amit? Like, what else can we do from the human angle?
I think one thing what I'm a firm believer is that a kid should be taught how to be rational, how to develop that critical thinking, right? So think about it. Let's go back to this example. So my elder one, right? She's 6.5. She recently went to school. They were learning about the solar system. She came back home. She was so excited. Dad, let's make a solar project. I was like, all right, let's do it. But what they need to know is why the sun is at the center, right? Why every planet revolves around it. Why Earth is part of solar system versus why moon is rotating around it. But at the same time, she came back on the same day. She was like, Dad, do you know there is a flood in this country and we're doing a charity work? I said, why do we need to do a charity work? And this is where I'm going back to that human angle, right? They need to understand. And she was like, Dad, you don't know there are so many people in Kenya, they are starving. I said, okay, so what do we need to do? No, we need to feed them. We'll collect this charity. It would go to build their schools. So this is where I think that, a children's development should be balanced in such a way that AI could be enabler in their development, in their progress. And this is where our parenting, what we bring in their development is making sure that the human angle is coming along as in how they are growing up. And the best way, what I find, is just play dumb. When you play dumb, you ask them so many questions. Why did that happen? What about that? Why do you think that? And that, these questions will let them explain things that would develop their creative thinking, the critical thinking. And that's why, at times I'm happy to just play dumb with the kids, right?
Playing dumb comes so naturally to me.
But yeah, I think you're right.
Somebody as smart as Viraj is saying that, so that means humility.
True, but going back to your question, Ansh, I would say yes, Viraj is right when he says that we don't need to be afraid of AI, and I'm a firm believer it could be enabler with all the info. See, we had an information age when we were growing up. Knowing that information, you were the best because you knew it. Right now, everything is in fingertips. So it's not no more information. It's about, all right, there is an access to information. Everybody has it. How best do you use it? Does it add into your personality development? Does it add into your human aspect? And then you come out as a winner. So I think, yeah, AI can help in many ways. It's just about, we need to know how best to expose kids and how to tell them how to use it.
No, that's really interesting. And this reminds me, when I was a kid, when we used to ask these questions, the teacher used to, like respond to the first few, but after the third and the fourth question, that's where teacher used to lose patience and then like, why are you asking so many questions? And then, there's that whole rant that comes after that. But you're not getting that from the AI. So you can be curious, and you could be curious in an unlimited way. You can ask all sorts of questions. So I think from that perspective, it might be a really interesting tool, right? Where you can dissect a problem in so many different ways. You can ask the why without any judgment, without any fear. And I think this is where this generation Alpha, I would say, the new generation that's coming up, would be very different than us, because I think we did not ask the why. We did ask maybe once or twice here and there, but we did not dissect the problem, went back to first principles. I think there was still a bit of like memorization and kind of learning and remembering things. The focus was on remembering. Exams were based on how much you can remember and how much you can write it back at the end of the year. I think all of that should change. So I think the focus of exams should perhaps change. It's going to be a very different world. And like you rightly said, both of you, right? AI and quantum and all of these different things will completely change the way we think, and it's going to be the application of these technologies and how best we can apply it to our knowledge or to our profession or to better understand a topic would be key.
Can I
Just
add a word of caution, Anshia?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
We are saying like, don't be afraid of AI. Let kids use them. But I want to also provide a word of caution that supervise them, because AI, whatever they say, especially generative AI, it doesn't mean that it is the right thing. They hallucinate. They will say things which are not real. So you have to be, like generating a poem, generating a story is all fine. But if you ask a factual question, was it Pluto or Neptune? Sometimes AI can say Neptune, like happened with Amit, right? So you have to supervise.
Live example, yes.
Yeah. You have to supervise, please. Don't just... AI is still not there yet. So please supervise your kids what they are doing with AI.
Absolutely. And Ansh, going back to your point, in our generation, and this reminds me of this very nice, very famous scene from 3 Idiots, when he tries to explain the machine, and the professor shuts him. नहीं, यही लिखा हुआ है, यही definition याद करना है, do not deviate from it. I think that was our generation, when even though you had so many questions, right, you were just asked to shut. They might answer few, but you were asked to shut. And this is where the listening skills comes in, right? Let them ask as many questions, right? And that's where we can add value. So yes, with the help of AI, with our supervision, if we add some of these, then that would definitely help them.
Amit, you reminded me of my teacher. When I was asking them questions, the common thing they would say is, बहुत शाना बन रहा है तू, टॉपर बनेगा क्या?
Exactly.
देखो आज बन गया.
and at times it feels like more than what we should do, what's important is what we shouldn't do, right? These are the things which feels like these are the things which can easily be avoided. And even if we take out some of these not doing things, right, not to do things, we would still be doing a lot favor to our kids.
How about we play out a scenario, right? Like we understand, we need to understand this tool technology and maybe be a bit of a director instead of a consumer. Use it to our advantage, learn from it. Don't completely blindly follow it, because they hallucinate, like you said, Viraj, and which is absolutely true. At least as of 2025, it may get better in the future. But so what do we really do in terms of, like, there's still things that they can't do. It can't negotiate a contract. It can't be resilient. There's so many human aspects. So I want to know from both of you, in terms of, what are those human skills that we need to continuously double down on, and make sure that at least, you can never be smarter than a calculator or a, and I think you can't do tables of like 4 digits multiplied by 6 digits, which calculator can easily do. But there's so many other things we did right at our age. I know calculator is a very silly comparison to the tools that we are talking about right now, but if the analogy holds true, we can still double down on some key principles, some humane qualities. Do you want to just double click on some of those?
Sure, Ansh. So you rightly pointed out. See, AI can help you draft a contract which is profitable, but it won't teach you how to negotiate on that table, right? Sit down on that table, and this is where I think the best skill what comes into play, and which we all come through every day in day out, is how to deal with people. I won't call it people management because we're not trying to manage it, but we're trying to have a nice relationship. It could be a working relationship, an emotional relationship, a family relationship, a friendly relationship. But how do you connect with people? And I think what I have learned raising 2 daughters now is they're observant of what you do. So indirectly you teaching them, right, with your actions, with every task you do. The way you speak to your spouse, the way you speak to your friends, the way you speak to your parents, they watch you. Trust me, they listen every bit of it. Even they are in this room, they'll exactly know what's going on the other room. So I think some of these things where we have to be cognizant, we have to be very much aware of how we are presenting ourselves in front of kids, because their observation skills are great. At times we underestimate how much they can learn, right? But we should never do that. And I've learned it the hard way at times. But one thing I can share is that never underestimate their skill sets. They could beat you every time, and they could surprise you every time with what they can do. So I think some of these skills, how to deal with people, how to negotiate, right? In fact, as simple as communication, how to communicate, the way we are talking, the way we deal in office versus the way we deal at home. So I think some of these skills will come very handy, and we need to think about, right, they need to live their life for next 50, 60 years, right? These skills will come every day in every work. You cannot take out a day where they won't use their skills, and that's why we need to make sure that they understand it. And this is where it also links back to collaboration, compassion. So some of these human skills will definitely come very handy to them.
Yeah. To add to what Amit said, and I absolutely agree with everything you said, Amit, especially kids learn from their parents. We have started reading books just so that our kids learn how to read books. So absolutely agree.
Superb.
This question was actually asked to Jack Ma in some other context, and his answer was values like honesty, compassion, empathy will be more important in the future world than what it is now. Everybody will know what information they need to know, like at their fingertips. But if they are not honest, they may not be able to use the information as well as honest person would. Whether honest person will be successful or not, that's a second question in my opinion. An honest person will be happy, that's for sure. They'll be happy in their life, they'll be satisfied with what they do. And that's what I want my kids to be. They are not billionaires, that's fine, but I don't want them to be cheat.
Wow, that's really good. I call this the human premium, right? Like literally doubling down on those basic human qualities, like you just said, empathy, honesty. And yeah, honesty is like, obviously there's so much of debate around it, but I think it's more about things that machines can't do, like handling a complicated scenario, like what Amit you said, it can draft a contract, but can it negotiate with a third party or with a client or with another stakeholder? It's a live discussion, and there's so many back and forths, and you're changing the way you want to deal with it, and it's human emotions at play.
Absolutely.
So yeah, let's go with this. And I love the fact that we're moving away from memorizing facts and kind of moving towards formulating logic. Another great key takeaway that I loved from this conversation was about, you need to be not a consumer of AI, but a director of AI, so that you can use it to your advantage, direct it the way you want, the outputs to be. Prompt engineering, I think, comes into play here. A lot of people just write basic prompts, and that's where the outputs are not too bad, but not great as well. So we need to understand how we can play around with those prompts, and make sure that we get the best from these available tools. So if I want to summarize this, I want to say 5 C's that comes on top of my mind. So the first 3 C's are, I think we did speak about it early on in the pod, was curiosity is key,
Mm-hmm.
and it leads to a lot of creativity. Imagine the conversations we were talking about, changing the ending and the story, and so there's a lot of creativity involved, and I think that's key. But most importantly, it's going to be critical thinking. That will be key for
Absolutely.
the AI era. And the other two C's that make us different from, let's say, humanoids and other bots would be compassion and collaboration. So those are my 5 C's: curiosity, creativity, critical thinking, compassion, and collaboration. We want to keep this going because I know our children are right now in that foundational age. They still haven't reached the teenage, but the problems become much worse when they are teenagers. So how about we talk about, for parents, who have teenage kids, the 10 to 18 year old, the 19 years old, what happens to that age group. And then maybe we'll follow up with, an episode on the college goers, because for them, it is just about a couple of years or a few years down the line, they have to join the workforce. So for them, it's like, really, what do I do right now so that I can, make it big and do something, great for myself. So lots of conversations to talk about. Stay tuned, and if you like this conversation, please support us, and we'd love to bring on more episodes.